joining us. And we're going to talk about quarterbacks because the conversation going into the draft was all about quarterbacks. Actually, the whole entire offseason has been about quarterbacks. And we got Trevor Lawrence, #1 overall, Zach Wilson, #2 overall, and they go head-to-head week 16. Which of these rookie quarterbacks do you feel like is going to have the better rookie season?
Wait a minute. Did you say week 16? Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson, week 16 with one more game to play. I mean, that to me is the key element when you're talking about these two young quarterbacks playing late into a season that's going to have, for the first time ever, 17 games. I think when you look at the rookie players in the National Football League, many of whom are not used to playing into the month of January, these two guys obviously are, but I think, taking the wear and tear and the pounding in the NFL is much different than the college game. So when I look at this particular matchup, I'm a host of the NFL matchup show, and I look at this particular matchup, and I'm looking at Robert Saleh, the head coach, and he's going to be designing the Jets defense, coming after Darrell Bevell and that offense of the Jaguars. And he knows that offense because they faced one another in the NFC West. And he knows that Bevell is going to be throwing the ball all season long and probably relying more on the pass than Urban Meyer wants him to. So in this particular game, I'm looking for Trevor Lawrence to be on the run, or at the very least under a lot of pressure in this football game. So I'm actually going to give the edge to Zach Wilson and the Jets in this game.
Unbelievable that the Jets are assumed to be in a better position, but I think that's what experience does for you. Speaking of experience, we're going to continue asking you to look into your crystal ball. We'll go to week 15 this time. Packers against the Ravens. Here's how we'll frame this, because we don't necessarily know that Rodgers will be under center for Green Bay by the time that even gets to that point in the season. So which of those franchises will be better off by the time we hit week 15 and it's the Packers against the Ravens?
Well, there's two things that are going on here with Packers-Ravens. First of all, the Ravens organization, and you heard General Manager Eric DeCosta talk about this week. They are really focused on their December games and their final 4 games of the season. They believe in the Belichick model, that the team gets better quarter by quarter by quarter. And you saw that, as Dan Graziano pointed out a little while ago, you saw that with the Ravens at the end of last season. I covered a lot of those games. They came to rely more on their defense at the end of the year and more on Lamar Jackson running the football, what they do best. And I think Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, they're very, very close. They're very close to getting to the Super Bowl. And the Ravens are all in on Lamar Jackson. And that's why they went out and they helped them quite a bit from the wide receiver position, an extra pass rusher. What they want to do is blitz the quarterback. Remember, they had the second highest number of blitzes of any team in the league last year. And Wink Martindale added another pass rusher. The league as a whole blitzed 28% of the time last year. That's the most in 5 years. So you guys were just talking about offensive line play. So important, but also so important to have a quarterback who is on the move, who can move and get away from the blitz. And I think that sets up the Ravens to be very close this year to getting to the AFC Championship game and maybe a berth in the Super Bowl. I actually have the Ravens as my pick early on, going to the Super Bowl in the AFC.
I like that. I like that.
Wow, okay, and that's actually a perfect little segue into the question I'm about to ask you right now that revolves around Week 11 and the Kansas City Chiefs, which a lot of people are probably going to pick to come out of the AFC, except, of course, Sal Pal. So, the Cowboys versus the Chiefs, Week 11. What I want to ask, first off, is the Dad and Patrick dynamic there, but the Cowboys are kind of getting shortchanged here because that is on a Sunday, and then they play Thursday in the Thanksgiving game against the Raiders. So, Sal, let's start Week 11, Cowboys at Kansas City.
Okay, so Cowboys at Kansas City, then they go home after 4 days and play at home. So, it's a close, it's not that far of a trip. Playing in Arrowhead is tough. The key thing about the Cowboys is Dak Prescott's leg and how he has recovered and how he plays early on. And whether or not, the wear and tear on that injury sort of has a multiplier effect as the season goes on. We don't know about that until we see him in training camp, till we see him in the mandatory minicamp, till we see him in a tune-up in preseason, and then in the first and second quarters of the season, by the time he gets to Thanksgiving, where is Dak Prescott health-wise? Very, very important. Same thing for Patrick Mahomes, the second. Patrick Mahomes had surgery on that turf toe the day after the Super Bowl. That's how much it was hurting him against the Bucs. He was under pressure, a Super Bowl record 29 times, because Andy Reid forgot to protect him properly. We know that. And so now we went out and got an offensive line. Andy Reid, I covered him for 14 years in Philadelphia. He's always very good at figuring out the adjustment after it's too late. And that's exactly what happened in that Super Bowl.
That's some tape to look at.
So Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes, just because they're coming off of those injuries, may not be the MVP this upcoming season. We know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. Nobody knows what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. That's the answer. So who do you expect to be the MVP coming out of this next NFL season?
Oh boy, it's going to be TB12. I think it's Tom Brady.
Yes.
I mean, I love the where this Bucs team is, getting everybody back. He and Bruce Arians now have a full season, a full non-COVID off season to get things together. I think the Bucs are going to add to their win total this season, especially with Drew Brees retired and a change in the coaching staff and the hierarchy in Atlanta, and Carolina still rebuilding. I think the Bucs really have, of all of those teams that went to the playoffs last year, and of course they won the Super Bowl, they have really the easiest road back to a 12 or 13 win season in a 17 game season, especially because if you look at strength of schedule, they have the third easiest strength of schedule. First is the Birds, the Eagles, Cowboys, second easiest schedule, and the Bucs. When was the last time, and this will be something for our stats and information gurus to figure out, when was the last time that the defending Super Bowl champs had a bottom 5 strength of schedule with third easiest schedule in the NFL coming off their Super Bowl championship? I cannot remember this ever happening. So I think the Bucs getting everybody back and determined to repeat and having a non-COVID offseason with all the changes in their favor in their division and the third easiest schedule, I think it's all set up for Brady to go back to the Super Bowl. I really do.
Sheesh, you're talking to a Tampa native and a Tom Brady fan. Not me. Gary's a Tom Brady fan. So we both like what you're saying.
Appreciate that one, Sal Pao.
Thanks so much, Sal Pao.